Hi, my name's Cyrus Sutton. Today we're going to check out how to make a time-lapse. So shooting time-lapses, you need a few essential pieces of gear. First and foremost, a tripod, because you want to keep the camera stable. You know, DSLRs are great. You can take a string of raw images, a much larger image than HD or even 4K to zoom and crop and pan around in. A neutral density filter allows movement in the frame of water. I tend to like a neutral density filter when I shoot time lapses because I like to shoot around a 30th of a second maximum. Then things kind of blur and look really natural as opposed to stuttery. So for most cameras, you're going to need to have a separate intervalometer that plugs in to your camera, but some cameras actually have an intervalometer setting built in. Basically what an intervalometer does is it takes a sequence of stills at a rate that you want. Time lapses are basically sped up time. If you look at, say, 24 frames a second or 30 frames a second, you divide a second into 30. Well, what we're doing here is taking one frame every, say, second or every 2 or 3 seconds. And what that does is it compresses it down. When we play it back at 24 or 30 frames a second, time's gonna get sped up. So that's what we're doing here. And finally, lenses. I tend to like shooting really wide, especially for nightscapes, star time lapses, waterfalls like what we're gonna shoot right now. So there's a couple things you need to do before you set up your first time lapse. Number one, you need to make sure your tripod's on really firm ground. Number two, you need to switch your focus to manual, not auto. And number three, you need to make sure the image stabilizer is off. So when you shoot time lapses, you always want to be shooting on manual exposure. If you're shooting where the exposure auto corrects, you're going to have a problem because clouds will change the exposure and your camera will adjust for that and it'll cause a lot of flickering. Once you have your camera set up, you're going to really start framing your shot. And if you're going to use a super wide lens, you're going to use a longer interval between shots. And if you're more zoomed in, you're going to use a tighter interval between shots because it's going to exaggerate the motion that's going to happen in front of the frame for the most part. So once you've captured the time lapses, it's time to process them. I personally use After Effects. You can use Lightroom. Most cameras have a utility software. I know Canon has Camera Raw. But before I do that, I organize all my clips into folders and label them based on the shot. Once I have that, I import them into After Effects, and one of the great things about shooting raw images is you get so much latitude. Once you bring them in, it's going to be a lot bigger, and this is cool because it allows you to crop and pan your image and really play around with it in post. Two other things that people use in post is a deflicker and also a stabilizer, in case there was a little bit of shake or your tripod was on unsteady ground, you can take that out here as well. So after you export, you should be good to go. My name's Cyrus Sutton. I'm here for Adorama TV. You should check out their YouTube channel and subscribe. They have a lot of great tips and tricks on all kinds of things from filmmaking and photography. Happy time lapsing.